There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Well, good morning to you too. Hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my hot and sweaty Friday reads. It's not that hot out, really, but I'm in a new park, Sydney Buckwold Park. It's farther from my house. I got a little lost getting here, so that by the time I did find it, I was pretty upset, but things went from bad to worse. As I told you last week. Okay, there's a cute guy there. Look, look, look. Hello, Coffee Thursday. So anyway, those of you who were worried that now that I get back to my own country, that there wouldn't be any more park, you know, epic fails and ridiculous situations, well, fear not. So I bought this sun umbrella that has a clamp, and it's quite a great umbrella in terms of it casts quite a shade. So wouldn't that be much better for this video? It blocks the sun and I can actually see me, but the clamp doesn't fit on the picnic benches in this park. I'm pretty sure it will on where I was last week and maybe another park. I'm hoping, but it's too heavy for me to hold. Like if I hold this, it's too heavy. So I have tried everything here, and I could get it hooked on the bottom at the back, but then it wasn't tall enough to go over my head, so it would have been completely useless. So I'm feeling a little bit frustrated. But this isn't too bad. I hope you'll bear with me, because the only way I could find a place in the shade is to sit on the dewy grass, and I don't love you that much. I came to this park even though I had never been here before, and it was farther away than any place else I could film, because I didn't have a coffee, and so there was a 7-Eleven on the way, and I thought, well, what the hell, you're here now, keep going. Other than that, I'm in a good mood. How are you? How's your day going? No, I'm in a really good mood. I've had a fabulous week. So before I get into anything personal, I don't really have much personal news, but this is personally very gratifying to me to be able to announce to you all, those of you who didn't realize it already, those of you who haven't realized it yet, is that one of my very most favorite booktubers and my oldest booktube friend, and I do not mean in age, he's a young'un, Curtis from the UK. His channel in its current iteration is Curtis Books and Books, but back in the old days it was Curtis Books and Film, or was it Curtis's Books and Film? I've forgotten, but anyway, I'm going to put a link in the show notes. Those of you who never unsubscribed when he turned his channel off, set it to private, oh boy, 3 years ago, 2.5, 3, goodness, no, maybe 4 years ago, I'm not sure. If you unsubscribed at that point or whatever, then you may not know that he's back. He came back this week, and he has not lost any of his booktube prowess. Curtis, I have always felt, and I'm not just saying that because we're friends, we kind of lost touch after he left booktube. We kept in touch for a little while, but you know, we didn't stay in touch, so I'm very pleased that he's back. But Curtis gives among the very best reviews and the deepest observations on literature. I don't always agree with him, but usually I do, I think. So if you're looking for quality literary fiction, he reads outside of literary fiction a little bit, I think, maybe more now, but mostly literary fiction, and he's the very, very best. So Curtis, welcome back. And those of you who are new to BookTube or didn't realize he was back, go subscribe immediately. He's had a announcement type video, chatty video, and the mid-year book freakout tag, I think, are the two that he's got up there now, and they're both a delight. This has been the best week I've had since I started packing up and got so busy packing in Tokyo, because I'm done. I mean, I'm not completely unpacked. The movers have not yet arrived with my stuff, including my computer, so there's still some major things coming, but this week I didn't have much that needed to be done. Mom and Dad were at the farm, and I spent a glorious week reading booktube video editing, relaxing. Just barely left my house. I hope to get out a little bit more than I got out this week, but this week was a week for staying in, cooking. I am loving cooking, and all the ingredients that I couldn't get or couldn't get easily in Japan, I'm getting here. And yesterday I made a recipe that I discovered on Facebook when I was in Tokyo, and I made it several times there, and I've made it, this is the second time I've made it since I got back. It is a taco pasta salad, and I could never, it needs, the dressing is a Catalina dressing, but it's ground beef fried and onions and olives, black, or I've used both, and the taco powder and the Catalina dressing. What the hell, I will put the recipe in the show notes. It is the most delicious meal, summer supper or lunch, because it's cold. So I made it yesterday because it was supposed to get up to 34. I don't know if it ever did, but by the time I had my dinner at about 10:30 p.m., that's when I eat, it was actually cold, so it still tasted really good. I think it's the best one I've ever made. But I'm loving cooking, loving trying things out on my new barbecue. Just having a good time. And I did quite a lot of reading. What that means for today's Friday Reads is that I finished 2 and started 1. Let me tell you about the one I started. That is, can I remember that? I've never remembered the title yet. Is it Some Enchanted April or This Enchanted April? It's one of the two, and it's by, I got her name wrong too. It's Elizabeth von Antrim. It's not Antrim. Elizabeth von Arnim. Elizabeth von Arnim. I started it as an audio text combo. The audiobook is to die for. I don't know the audio narrator's name, but I will put that in the show notes. And I am loving it. I've read 3-4 chapters. And it's about these 2 women of different classes that meet at a private club, I believe in London, where Mrs. Wilkins, the middle class woman, she is just, she might be my favorite character this year. I don't know, but I'm just loving her. She's a flustered, deep thinking, but very woefully inarticulate woman that reads an ad for the month of April. A medieval castle in Italy is up for rent, and she has a nest egg, and she's thinking, oh my God, I would love to go, and I could probably go without my husband really knowing where I'm going, or, you know, I could kind of fudge the story a bit and not let him know I'm spending my nest egg, but good Lord, I need a break from him and the world. And then she kind of goes into she puts the newspaper back, and she's kind of goes into a reverie in this club, and then she notices this hoity-toity woman reading the ad with a dreamy look on her face, and she, I think quite uncharacteristically, although I don't know her character well enough, but I'm pretty sure this was a really uncharacteristic, daring move for Mrs. Wilkins. She went up to this upper-class woman and said, I think you're having the same reaction to that ad I am. You really want to go, don't you? And you're not sure you can justify the expense. And you probably have a nest egg bigger than mine that you could probably do it. And this Mrs. Arbuthnot is just taken aback by this woman who reminds her of the lower class people that she helps in all her charity work. But she gets sucked in, and I'm at the stage where they are starting to make inquiries. In fact, they've now rented the place and are looking for other ladies, 2 more ladies, to accompany them to reduce the expense. And that's going to be the adventure this Enchanted April. Living in this medieval castle in Italy. I love the writing. The humor is hitting me just right. It's really, really great. So that part of the last quarter's booktube spin is an unparalleled success. And I have a feeling that Elizabeth von Arnim is going to become a new favorite. Anyway, I'm getting a sunburn on the back of my head, so I won't talk too much longer, but I do have lots more important stuff to tell you, book-wise. One of the 2 books I finished, I am planning to do a full review, and I'm probably going to try to film it today and post it as soon as possible, and that is this lesbian novel, Other People Manage by Ellen Hawley. I loved it. Wow. It's a strange book. I'm not going to say too much because I'm going to put my thoughts into a full review that is going to go up uncharacteristically promptly because I have tons of free time right now. I know I should start looking for a job or something one of these days, but I do have lots of time right now. A very unusual, and I don't mean particularly eccentric, but an unusual narrator, and I don't think her voice would work for every reader. I had my doubts about whether it was working for me at various points in the middle, but by the end, she had just seduced me again, just like the opening had seduced me, and I loved it with all my heart. The writing is tremendous. I want to read Ellen Hawley's backlist. She lives in the UK now, but she's from Minnesota. The story is set in Minnesota. It's about a lesbian couple that meet in the 70s during Peg, not the narrator, but the narrator's partner. Peg is having a real crisis, and then it's just one series of crises after another, and how that builds and shapes and perhaps warps their relationship. And at the opening, Peg has recently died, and she wasn't that old. She might have been 60. That backstory is nestled within a story of grief. Good morning. And it's really, really awesome. So, oh my God, he just walked by, nodded at me. Oh my God. The book is not available in the States, but if I have anything to teach my subscribers, and I don't think I have very much, it's that you should not wait. Why would you wait? There are places like Blackwell's in the UK that you can order from, and it's not Amazon, and they provide free shipping worldwide. So don't wait for it to be published in North America. Just get it. It's so good. I wonder if it's coming out on audio. It's one of the most wonderful novels I've read about companionate love and all the different forms of love, familial love, with some really pithy observations whose impact hits you. And those pithy observations land with such peculiar force because the narrator herself is not a very verbal person. And how Ellen Hawley does that puts deep thoughts in the mind of a person who's not that articulate, and makes them articulate but also fit in with her character, is one of the things I loved. I'm not going to say any more because I'm really looking forward to putting more thoughts together in a review. Big recommendation from me, Other People Manage by Ellen Hawley, brand new this year. Now the last one that I have to talk about, I may do a full review, but I haven't decided yet. And that is, I finally finished just this morning. Finished the last 20 pages this morning. So I haven't had much time to digest. John McGahern's memoir, All Will Be Well. Another 5-star read. I just loved it so much. It's a tough story to read. It's his family of origin memoir, and he had one of the world's worst fathers. I mean, his father wasn't Hitler, but he was certainly up there for being an evil man, and that John McGahern can bring him to life in a way that gives at least a little bit of gray to his character, not all black, was a profound achievement. But I would say even more than that, and it's easy to lose sight of it because the father is so larger than life, but his mother dies when John McGahern was young. I think maybe 9 or 10, and she was the world's most wonderful, loving person. And his portrait of her and how her love for him continued throughout his whole life. Good morning.
Hello.
Wow.
No, he's busy.
I'm YouTubing.
Good.
I'm on YouTube. I'm not on YouTube, but I'm filming for YouTube.
Presentation.
Yeah, it's not teaching. It's just about books. It's my channel's about books.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a writer?
No, I'm a reader.
Reader.
Yeah, I just talk about books I've read and loved.
Can I see this book?
You can, and would you like to come around and wave at my subscribers? I'm not live, but there you are. Hello.
Hello. I want to know, so what book do you?
Yeah, this is an Irish memoir.
All Will Be Well.
All Will Be Well by John McGahern.
So you do a review of the book? Is this new?
Not so new, but about 20 or 25 years old, I think.
Years?
Yeah, but really good. Yes, I do. I do a video every Friday where I talk about books I've finished and started during the week, but then I also do separate reviews sometimes.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Are you a reader?
I am, but I just don't have time anymore.
Oh dear.
I do take time once in a while. I sit down for an hour. But it's a public in Canada, right?
It is. It's available in Canada. Yep.
My son read a lot.
You don't have to come and say hello, but would you like to? Or can I
You know
show your
what?
dogs?
Pardon me?
Can I show just your dogs?
Sure.
All right. I got them.
Toby, Toby, show your good side, okay? We'll let you go because
Thank you very much.
The sun will be coming further around.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm Sean, by the way.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Bernice. I
Thank
live
you.
on
Bernice.
Waterloo
Sorry
here.
for the...
Often.
Lovely. And what's
Yeah.
your name?
I'm Hannah.
Hannah. Nice to meet you, Hannah.
Yeah, we met in the park last summer and we became friends.
Oh, lovely. Well, I lived in Japan for 15 years and I've just moved back.
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting used to Canadian life again and how friendly everyone is. My God.
Oh, and in this park, people are so friendly.
Well, welcome to Canada. Wow, fantastic. So what was I saying about this? But yeah, I was talking about his mother. The radiance and intensity of how much she loved her son and loved all her kids, because he was, I think, the oldest, but I can't remember if he's the oldest. But large family, 5 or 6 kids in total before she died in about, I think, 1945. And she wasn't very old. She might have been 40. Saved John McGahern from being consumed by the abuse that his father, who was pretty much of an absent father until the mother died, and he was such a arrogant bastard and had such a conflicted relationship with his mother. They never really actually lived together for more than a few weeks at a time, and he went to church to pray for her. He was a police sergeant, lived 40 miles, 50 miles away or something, and he would have priests say mass for her while she was dying or while she was having surgery, recovering from cancer surgery or whatever, but he never actually went to visit her when she was on her deathbed. Just the biggest bastard you could ever imagine. And then he has to take the kids. Morning. Morning. And things don't go well. The level of abuse, I'm not a big content warning, trigger warning kind of person, but the level of abuse and the descriptions of the abuse are really painful to read. So that is something. But he also situates it, I think, quite well in a larger context of Ireland and the obedience to the paternalism and religiosity of Ireland, and the way that such an ostensibly religious man can get away with this shit for decades and decades, and then he's got to make a life for himself and try to be there for his siblings and have some kind of a relationship with his just evil, ridiculously malevolent father, and also to appreciate that he wasn't 100% bad. I would say he was 99% bad, but he also represents that 1% as well. So just a tremendous memoir. I don't know if I'm going to review it. What I'm going to do is soon, over the coming days, I'm going to reread the chapter in Yiyun Lee's wonderful book of autobiographical / literary essays. I've just blanked on the title. It's very long, but I write to you in your house from my house. I forget, it's a long title, and here's the GIF. And probably one of the most profound videos I've made is a kind of a off-the-cuff hot take review of that book. It's so intense, and I just tapped into something so true in me that this book triggered that I've never been able to rewatch that video, but I'll put a link in. Just be warned, it's a little intense. The reason I wanted to read this was because she devotes a chapter to John McGahern and this novel in particular. And I can't remember if it was him or William Trevor that Yiyun Lee, who's the Chinese-American writer, met before they died. She met one of them. I think it was William Trevor, though. But I want to reread that chapter, that essay about John McGahern, and then maybe I'll have enough to put a review and have more to say about it then in that format. But this was a standout read and is a standout memoir. I loved it. It ripped my heart out. I am starting to gear up for Women in Translation Month, which, as you probably know, should know, is in August. And I'm not going to go nuts, but I am going to put together a TBR, and I will probably film that TBR in the coming week and post it maybe that soon, or certainly soon. So I'm not going to replenish my reading completely until then, so that I can kind of hit the ground running, because that's what I tend to do when I'm always replacing a book, as then there's a big readathon that comes and I have trouble folding them in. So I finished 2, but I'm only going to start 1, and it's going to be, I expect, a quick read. This is a novella by Willa Cather, A Lost Lady. The reason, if those of you that follow this podcast will recognize this immediately, this is going to be the book for discussion in early August on the podcast The Mooks and the Grapes, which is one of my favorite podcasts. I am now a Patreon of... am I a Patreon? I think I would say I'm a patron, but I support them through Patreon. And they are doing... they don't always do a book discussion, but occasionally they do, and they did a Twitter poll, and I voted for the William Trevor one, but that didn't win. And what did win was this by Willa Cather. So I got it, and it's only 130 pages. And Willa and I have not had a great relationship because I did a master's in English Lit in Toronto in the early 90s, although I didn't finish until the late 90s because I really hated it. But one of the classes that I did actually like was the James, Wharton, and Cather. But Cather came at the end, and I remember I was so unhappy at grad school, all this fucking literary theory bullshit, post-structuralist, Foucault bullshit. I was so alienated from reading by the end, it took me years to learn how to love reading again. Years and years. It was a traumatic experience in that sense. But I did ultimately finish it, and that kind of helped me write my own ticket in terms of getting jobs in Japan, that I had a graduate degree in English, so blah, blah, blah. I had ESL training too, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. But we did Henry James, and I realized by the end of that I hated Henry James. We did Elizabeth Wharton? That's not right. We did Wharton. Is it Elizabeth Wharton? Edith. We did Edith Wharton in the middle, and I really quite liked her stuff. And then in the end was Willa Cather, and by then, like I say, I was so profoundly alienated and unhappy, even though this class was pretty good, because it was an older prof who was very warm and friendly and didn't care about all this bullshit. It still tainted my experience of Cather, and I have not been able to reread her or read her since. So this is going to be my latest attempt. Funny that it didn't affect me with Wharton, because I have read or reread Wharton in the past 5 years, and it's gone very well. So I'm hoping this will break the curse, the Willa Cather curse that is hanging over my head because of my grad school experience. Those of you who are long-term subscribers might remember this, but those of you who are new won't know anything about it. Actually, my 5-year anniversary is coming up in August. Let me get to that in a minute, but I typically throw it open for readers, for subscribers to submit their own videos that I publish on my channel. I call it Camera Flip. And a few years ago, Chris of the Book Cougars podcast submitted a video, and it was 35 minutes, and she was so self-conscious. Sean, I know it's too long. Are you sure it's going to be okay? Well, she just did a riff on Willa Cather. She loves Willa Cather. She belongs to the Willa Cather Society, and she's one of the preeminent experts on Willa Cather, but it comes from such a deep place that she just turned her camera on, and 35 minutes later, I mean, it's hard to take a breath watching it. She was so beautifully intense about sharing her love for Willa Cather that I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes. That should not stay cobwebby in the archives. I need to keep bringing that up to people's attention, because that was wonderful. So go check that out. And I'm going to start Willa Cather. All right, the last thing I'll say, and actually now I can't remember if it's August or September. I'll put a thing in the bottom, early September maybe, is my 5-year booktube anniversary. I have been kind of kicking myself that I made such a big deal out of my 4-year anniversary. I used to celebrate with every 1,000 subscribers, but my channel, it doesn't grow that fast anymore, so you know, that would only be a celebration once every 17 years or something. So now I celebrate the anniversaries of when I started, and I can't remember, was it August or early September, something like that. And I made a big splash last year because I had money. I don't have very much money right now. I'm looking for work and so on, so I don't think I can do anything really expensive. And I have done the book cover fragment contest 2 years running, and while it was popular, I think it's I'm done with that. I'm not going to do that in another year. So I'm actually looking for ideas. How do you think I should mark my 5-year anniversary on BookTube? And I know some of you will automatically suggest a Q&A, but I have to say that I hate those. I did one once. I would never do one again, and I don't watch anybody else's. I just don't like it at all. Don't know why, can't explain why, but I have an aversion to it after doing it one time. What I might want to share about my personal life usually comes out in dribs and drabs on Friday Reads, but and it's not because I'm a private person, but that format, just hate it, won't watch it, nope, nope, nope. So something different than that, please. Any suggestions? And, you know, I'm sure I'll still do some giveaways. Postage, shipping books from Canada is exorbitantly expensive. It's probably the cost of the book, again, to ship it somewhere that isn't within Saskatchewan or Western Canada. Boy, it's expensive. So, and they don't have surface mail in Canada. It's all by air mail, and it's not cheap. And you know, I just don't have a lot of cash to throw around, so I'm looking for free or cheap ideas. And if you know me privately and want to give me suggestions privately, do that. But otherwise, I'm happy to read your comments below. I am catching up with comments. I decided that I just didn't have the energy to answer comments on videos prior to my last day in Japan, and I'm slowly answering all of the comments from that last Tokyo video, Friday Reads video or whatever it was, up to the present, and it's taking me a while, but I am committed to a 100% somewhat timely comment response rate once again. All right, that is my Friday Reads, and I apologize if the lighting is terrible. I'll give you just a quick look of what I look like in the sun. And this is, let's see, it's really bright. It's really bright. Let me take you up here in the shade a little bit. Okay, there's a little bit of shade. So that's better. And if there was a bench right here, actually it's not much better. It's not much better. Anyway, thanks for watching.